Welcome back. We started off by building this basic architectural diagram in Lucidchart. We haven't forgotten about it. As we figure out the structure of our project and our project grows, it's important that we keep our project documentation and especially any architectural diagrams up to date. This is part of what differentiates a senior developer or a strong intermediate developer from someone more junior. Andre wrote this really great article called Don't Be a Junior Developer. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest you check it out. You might be saying, I'm just getting started. I'm still studying. And I'm definitely a junior developer. Well, that's absolutely fine. But this is the point in your growth where it pays best to invest in yourself. And by learning the skills you need to be a senior developer. Don't be afraid of trying new things. And definitely don't sell yourself short. You're capable of more than you think. So let's have a little bit of fun improving our architecture diagram. First thing, I want to make it a little bit more obvious that our mission control project is a loose grouping of our web application and our Node API, which are both Node packages. So I'm going to use this dashed line over here, and I'm going to make the background transparent. Maybe giving it a light shade of blue so that we know what's in this box captures our NPM packages. Now, if we go to our code, we have our root package JSON where our project is named NASA-project. We have our server package where our project is called NASA-project API, and our client is called NASA-FE for NASA frontend. So it's more useful in our architecture to know which packages each component relates to. So I'm going to update our web application here and say that this is the NASA-FE project. Our Node API is NASA-project-API, and our entire mission control project is NASA-project, which I'll move to be justified at the bottom of this box. Now I'll zoom out a little bit so we can add some extra components to our diagram here. So actually I'll move all of these components over. And we're going to add the web browser as a component in our architecture. This is what interacts with our NASA project and specifically talks directly to our web application to get the HTML along with our React code, which makes requests to our Node API. So I'll make this a different shade because it's outside of our Node code. Maybe it'll be green, where green will represent devices that interact with our NASA Mission Control project. And we'll make sure to mark that our web browser talks to our web application over the HTTP protocol. By the way, if you're not able to see the shapes that I'm using here, you can search for them with this search icon here. For example, looking for flowcharts, which will give you the flowchart shapes I'm currently using. Or you can add shapes with this plus shapes button here. There's plenty that Lucidchart makes available to us. From Android mockups to even circuit diagrams. The ones that I'm using are geometric shapes and the standard shapes for Lucidchart. You can be as fancy here as you like. For example, I'm not quite satisfied with my dashes here. They're a little bit too distracting. Much better. It really helps to make our diagrams look nice and readable, because only then will people actually look at them. Documentation that's not read and referred to is just a waste of time. But brief, nicely formatted documentation can make everyone's lives easier, especially the project architect or senior developer when they have to explain the project to potential customers or executives. Now, I'm going to change both the interaction from the web browser and the interaction between the web application and the Node API to be bidirectional. That is, we're not only making requests one way, going from our front end to the API, but we're also getting responses back. Which means these arrows need to be pointing both ways. We're not done yet. This isn't quite a complete picture of our project as it is today. We're filtering the list of potentially habitable exoplanets that we can target with our missions from the set of data made available by the NASA Exoplanet Archive. Our project depends on the NASA Exoplanet Archive to provide these CSV files with the data observed by the Kepler Space Telescope. What this means for us is that our Node API relies on this document, and I'll use a solid line this time, which, if we remember in our project, in our server's data file, data folder, is called Kepler_data.csv, which stores our downloaded exoplanet data from the Exoplanet Archive. So, this is going to be Kepler_data.csv, which is depended on by the Node API. And this is a direct requirement, so I'm going to use the solid line again, where the API reads in data from Kepler_data.csv. And this file originally comes from the cloud, which specifically the NASA Exoplanet Archive. And we download from this using an indirect sort of manual process by going to one of the Kepler tables and downloading our CSV file. So I'm going to label this as a manual download, just so we're clear on the data flow in and out of our project. And we can color code this to make it even easier to read. So let's make the exoplanet archive. This color, I believe we can call teal, where we can also group this CSV file as coming from a similar data source. But this time, maybe we can make it slightly more transparent, maybe 50%, because it's partly from the NASA Exoplanet Archive, but also it's included in our NASA Mission Control project. And there we have it. We can keep cleaning this up bit by bit and updating it as we build out our project. When working on real-world projects, good documentation will be the language that you use to speak to many of the people who will never get involved in the code, either because they lack the time, maybe a technical team lead is busy on other tasks, or because they lack development knowledge. Maybe it's a non-technical manager of your team. Think about it. If we spend lots of time making our code nice and readable and efficient, we should also dedicate some of that time to our documentation. Trust me, your team will notice. All right, I'll see you in the next video.